The EduTech Guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. Enjoy the program.
Hey guys, my name is Eric Curts. I'm from Northeast Ohio, and I'm a technology integration guy up there. Started off as a teacher many years ago. This is my 26th year in education. So I was a middle school math teacher for 7 years at first before moving into a role as like a tech coach, tech integration specialist. And I've been doing that now for the last 19 years after the first 7 as a teacher, and support about 30 or so school districts up there in Northeast Ohio. I'm also a Google trainer and Google innovator, so most of the stuff I work with the folks is Google related, and as a trainer I also get to travel around and work with folks outside of the area as well, and run a blog called ControlAltAchieve.com where I throw all my stuff. Everything's there.
I love Control Alt Achieve. That's great, man. That's great branding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Okay, so here's a question for you right off the bat, looking at hearing what you're talking about. What made the definitive jump to where you went, I'm going to reach out and touch teachers and more students through consulting? You know, through being that person to bring it to them. Do you remember when it happened? Do you remember what it was that did it? Was it Google that did it?
Well, Google was a big part of it, but no, I've been doing consulting for well over 20 years, way before, we had G Suite and had all those sort of things. Yeah. No, I think it's just an attitude of being an educator. I think most educators, we want to teach. We want to share. I mean, that's why none of us are rich. We don't understand how to we don't understand how to charge for things. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, here's this really neat idea. I want to tell you about it.
Teach you about it. Yeah.
And so, 20 years ago when I was still, in the classroom, but getting ready to start moving more toward this, I was the building nerd, the building geek. And so, I would do trainings there for our school. And then another school would say, hey, we heard you were doing something. So can you come over? Sure. Yeah, I'll come over and I'll help you here. And then you go to conferences and you do stuff. And it's really just a mindset of, sharing and learning and how we are all better together. And so that's really what it came from, was just not knowing how to monetize anything and just, making a blog. And I've done different websites in the past. I've actually had 2 different podcasts years ago that I've been involved in, always finding some way to just share the resources out there. And if you do that, if anybody is listening and they're saying, hey, I'd like to do consulting, I'd like to do that kind of stuff, I do think that is a really good means toward that. If you put yourself out there, you give your stuff away for free, basically. That's how people get to know you. That's how people find out you exist. Yeah. And then, it becomes the school a county over, then it's a school, the state over, then it's a school on the other side of the country, suddenly that's saying, hey, I loved that thing you shared. I loved that webinar you did. I loved this. We'd love to have you come and speak, and it grows from there.
And then you charge, 15 cents the first time and 30 cents the next time. You're like, well, I guess.
Keep adding zeros.
Will you pay for my gas?
Exactly.
Exactly. Which, for the most part, that's the phase we're in. We're like, hey, if you just pay the registration, we'll find how to get there.
And we were just talking to Mitch about this. We learn more sitting right here. Yeah. We're book solid. We've got right under 100 interviews for 4 days.
Absolutely.
And so we learn so much. And so, okay, I'm going to jump back into this. How has Google changed what we do in education?
Oh, my heavens. Well, I mean, it has changed so much. First of all, it just has exploded in the sense that being a free solution, for schools has just been so critical. That's how my school first got into it when I was at the district level. Is we were a school that was struggling financially, and I was the tech integration guy, and I needed to bring something to the school and say, well, we got to keep moving forward. We got all these computers, they're just sitting there gathering dust. What can we do with them? And G Suite was the answer to that way back when it first came out. Yeah. And since then, schools have certainly been attracted to that because it's free, but that's not enough to keep you. The point is, the Google tools aren't a 1, 2, 3 ABC system of here's what you must do. It's a sandbox. It's a set of tools.
Yeah.
These are tools that allow kids to do the 4 C's, to create, communicate, collaborate, think critically. It allows them to go beyond what anybody ever envisioned. And that's the thing that I love about it. If anybody checks out my blog at Control Alt Achieve, that's sort of the whole thing. It's taking tools and turning them 90 degrees on their head and saying, did you ever think of using drawings for this? Did you ever think that you could take a slideshow and do this with it? And
Right.
that's not what it's built for at all, but this is what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Google has built a tool, not a prescriptive solution.
Yes.
It's a tool that allows for that connectivity and collaboration where our kids can work with folks on the other side of the world and they create things. And absolutely, that's really the key to it. And there's such a great ecosystem of people and products out there that integrate and support. They don't try to be a silo and say, it's all got to be just our stuff. No, they'll work with any tool out there.
Right.
And that has allowed so many other partners to create such amazing things that integrate with the tools.
Well, you're talking about taking those tools and turning them 90 degrees on their side and,
Yep.
and showing people how to use them. I love the title of one of your workshops, Hipster Google, the
Yes.
tools you probably never heard of. That is awesome, man.
That is awesome.
So-
That was our morning session today. We had a workshop session, and usually I don't get a full 2 hours for that. That was a 2-hour session. Usually most sessions, like an hour long or something.
Right.
Well, what I do in that session is, we all know Gmail and Docs and Drive, but what about all those Google tools that you really don't know much about? Because Google throws stuff at the wall all the time to see what sticks.
Right.
And so we go through about 35 tools that maybe people don't know a whole lot about. They're the hipster tools, and how kids can use them, how students can use these tools in the classroom. And that was a blast. We had a fantastic time with that. And if anybody wants to see, again, everything is on my blog. For that one, go to controlaltachieve.com/hipster, and you'll find everything there.
Cool.
All the resources. And I also do webinars once a month. That was one of them that I did a while back, so you can watch the webinar for free there too. There's an hour-long webinar on it as well. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that I'm one of the Google Plus groups that I'm in is the Connected Communities, which focuses on using Google Hangouts. Now, of course, you
Yes.
could use whatever tool you want, but
Right.
it's Google, and it's free, and it's there, so why wouldn't you? But using Google Hangouts for your classroom to connect to another classroom
Absolutely.
and do either like a mystery hangout or author hangouts, or I mean, even if you take one tool, the things you can do with one tool, it absolutely is amazing what you can do in your classroom. And again, whether it's connecting your classroom or just within that classroom, the stuff that you can do. Like you said, taking Google Slides and doing things that Google is going, I didn't know you could do that.
That's exactly right. That's the whole idea. Yeah, and Hangouts is a great example. That's what I use for the webinars I do, for my monthly Google user group meetings, things like that. It's a free tool, and anybody can use it. It used to be you had to have, as a teacher, maybe special equipment, or you had to have a tech person who could come in and, bring in the Polycom units so that you could, connect somewhere. Not anymore.
Right.
You can connect to the world. You can record the stuff. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, well, I work at an education service agency. I can't remember what they're called in Ohio.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of different names. My particular place, we call what I work at an ITC, an Information Technology Center, but we're in the same building as an ESC, an Educational Service Center.
Yes.
And there's other ones besides
Yes,
that.
exactly. Yes.
OCs and you name it, they're all over the place.
You got it.
Yeah.
And several years ago, we're based in Arkansas, and so several years ago, using Tandberg, Polycom, those type of almost closed type of compressed interactive video systems were huge. And then as they were starting to fade out, that or maybe because there were things like Skype and Google and what have you that were starting to really make inroads into education. And now I think there are maybe a handful of those compressed interactive video units left in the state in use, because you don't need them. Why have this $10,000 piece of equipment when I have everything I need on this laptop that's sitting in front of me, and it costs me $250?
That is correct.
Or if I get an entry level Chromebook, $149 on sale on Black Friday. I mean, come on, and I'm connecting myself to the world.
That's the amazing part.
Amazing.
I know for you that's changed. We talk about this all day today. Technology has caught up with what we need in education. Cost-wise, technology-wise, it's not just this giant machine. I mean, this is too much for most people. There's too much in this machine. But a Chromebook,
Yeah.
what a beautiful device. And the ability for us to use something like Impero or GoGuardian or something along that line so that we know we're always helping direct those students to make them better digital citizens, better users of the product. Wonderful thing. I have to ask, Google Keep, did you guys talk? I love Google Keep.
Yeah, Google Keep I did include as one of the hipster ones, but I
ones?
felt bad about it because I don't consider it hipster, but I think it's getting well known enough. And I always give that, disclaimer in there.
Yeah.
Certain things will come off of this list as they become more popular because, but I did still have that. I do have that on there.
Yeah.
And I oftentimes will do a show of hands and say, okay, so how many knew about that one? How many knew about that one? I was glad to see we were getting, closer to maybe 40%,
Yeah.
Keep adoption in the room. So that's starting to leave the realm of being a hipster.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
yes, I did include Keep in there because of so many amazing things it can do.
Well, yeah, I see you're doing the one on Google Sheets activities.
Yeah, tomorrow is now it's a poster session, so people can just talk to me as they
Yeah.
walk by. But that one is exactly that. It's using Google Sheets for everything but numbers. Okay,
Right.
so we're saying how can you use Google Sheets in language arts? How can you use it in art? How can you use it in science and social studies? And so we look at using Google Sheets in ways that have nothing to do with creating charts and graphs. Now that's awesome. Absolutely. I was a math teacher. That is phenomenal. That's what you should be using it for. But if you think, oh, I'm not a math teacher, so I'm not going to use Sheets. Well, swing by my poster session or go to controlaltachieve.com/sheets and
Yeah,
you'll see everything
see
there.
everything.
I've got 10 examples that I'll be running through at the poster session of these are ways you can use Sheets that don't have to be math instead. I mean, we're talking pixel art, we're talking random writing prompt generators, we're talking, game makers, we're talking creating learning databases, all kinds of amazing
That's
things.
awesome.
Like that.
That is awesome.
I use it to pull attachments off of emails and direct to a Google Drive so I can upload back to SIS.
There you go.
I mean, the power of
and-
Google is...
No, and Sheets, you're right. Sheets, every educator should be using Sheets for efficiency and productivity.
Yep.
It is one of the most powerful tools for that. What I'll be sharing at that poster session, it's all student activities, but you are absolutely right on the money. Sheets is such an efficiency tool
Yeah.
that every teacher should be using for all the data they have to use.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
So the other one is making and taking lit trips with the new Google Earth.
Yeah, so on Friday I'll be talking about using Google Earth, the new web version, which runs on Chromebooks,
Right.
which has revitalized lit trips. If people don't know about a lit trip, it's when you take a book and you take all the different locations from the novel where the character goes and you put them on a map, and for each spot that you put on the map, you put a description, you put images, you put links, you put, other resources that relate to it to bring that story to life.
Right.
Kids can create their own, or they can take lit trips, or it doesn't have to be literature. It can be an event from history. It can be different biomes of the world. It can be whatever. We're going to talk about how you can take these trips, but also how to make them. We're talking about using Google Tour Builder to create them and then export them to Google Earth so you can explore them live in 3D.
That's
That
really
is-
cool.
That is freaking awesome.
Okay,
I mean, it
so
really is.
when's that workshop?
That is Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
Cool. And you're doing the poster session?
Tomorrow,
on-
Tuesday, or
Sheets.
what is today? Today's
Today's
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So
It seems like it's just-
Wednesday poster session on Sheets, Friday the one on Tour Builder. And if people can't get to that, that's controlaltachieve.com/maps. We'll get you to all of my mapping tools, including all the Tour Builder and Google Earth stuff as well.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Well,
So-
do yourself a favor. Go to controlaltachieve.com.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's there.
Everything's there.
/hipster to get the hipster stuff, /sheets to get the sheet stuff. Just go to the website. I
Yeah,
promise
it's
you,
all
you'll
there,
be a
man.
happy man.
That's right. So I'm gonna
ladies.
change directions completely because you're from or based out of Northeast
Yes.
Ohio. I'm now. Don't let this first part that I'm gonna say, immediately shut you down. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, but
I was just in Pittsburgh last week. I'll be there next week.
but my grandparents, one set of my grandparents, lived in Cleveland for a very, very long time, and I have been an Indians fan since I was
Yeah.
this big, and so it's always great to meet someone else who's
Oh
from
yeah,
that area.
we
So-
have quite the sports legacies there. Some positive, some negative.
I'm
I've-
not talking about the other team.
Yeah, I've definitely been enjoying basketball. I mean,
Yes,
Cavs been
yes.
struggling a little bit this year, but it's
Yeah.
still a joy to watch them. And I actually got to do some training at the high school that LeBron attended. And
that's
cool. That's cool.
I haven't
Right.
ever met him, but I got to see the amazing gymnasium he gifted to his high school.
that's right.
There. It's
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah.
It's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
So, folks want to catch you, get in touch with you, controlaltachieve.com.
Yep.
Twitter handle.
Yeah, just at Eric Curts. That is spelled ERIC and then CURTS. A lot of times people try to put an I in there for Curtis or a K or something. No, it's Eric Curts.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.